Welcome guys, today I'll be sharing with you how I created this cute Easter egg treat box. So if you're interested in seeing this, please do stick around. Welcome guys to my creative corner. This is Claudette, where I create projects using ink, stamps, paper, mixed media, embellishment, and a whole lot of joy. So if you're new to my channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button as well as the bell icon so you can be notified when I upload my latest videos. Okay, let's go ahead and jump right into creating our project today. So what are you going to need is one sheet of paper, and one sheet of paper would create one of these treat boxes. And this sheet of paper is measuring 11 inches by 8.5 inches. So I'm going to show you how you cut this down. And this is just white cardstock, so you could use whatever color cardstock you would like, but I'm going to show you how I created my paper, because I designed my printed paper or designer series paper myself. So what you're going to go ahead and do is put it on the 11-inch side. And then we're going to cut this down to 7 inches. Then we're going to turn it on the 8.5-inch side. Then we're going to cut this down to 8 inches. So next, what we're going to do is take the remainder of our card. We're also going to create the insert for our box. So the remainder of our card stock, we're going to be measuring 4 3/4 by 3.25 inches. So let's put it on the longer side, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it at 4 3/4 inches. Then on the shorter side, we're going to put it and cut at 3.25 inches. I'm going to be listing all the measurements down below in the description. So now you have your 2 pieces of cardstock to create your box. So this is going to create your box, and this is going to create the insert. So now we're going to go ahead and start with the base for our box. And we're going to go ahead and make our designer series paper. We're going to get a scrap piece of paper and put that down. So what I'm going to be working with is 5 colors. So I'm going to show you the 5 colors that I'm going to be working with. This is Calypso Coral. This is Granny Apple Green. Magenta Madness, which is a nice hot pink. Bermuda Bay. And Daffodil Delight. I'll be featuring the stamp set, Arrange a Wreath. And I'm going to be using the eggs within here, as well as the Happy Easter sentiment. Now with the eggs, they come joined, just as you see here with the pears. With the pears, they come joined. And I just went ahead, took my scissors, and cut it right down in the middle of that. Because I want to be able to use them individually. So these are the 2 stamps here that I cut apart. And these are your photopalmer stamps, so you want to be able to, you're going to get a better imprint if you use a cushion underneath when you're using your photopalmer stamps. So what we're going to do is just randomly stamp these eggs with the different colors. So I'm going to start out with my Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to stamp my eggs, space them out on my card. So I'm going to go ahead and clean my stamp off, and then we'll move on to the next color. And let's use the Calypso Coral, and let's put this up so I don't make any mistakes. We're going to use the second egg design. So this is how you're going to continue going with each color and interchanging the two different egg designs, making sure you clean your stamps off in between. So there we have our designer series paper. It's not perfect. I missed a little edge right there, but that's okay. This is a homemade craft. Next, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to score the box. So I'm going to bring in my trim and scoring tool. So let's start on the 8.5 side. And I am just going to flip it over to the white side, so maybe it shows a little better. So on the 1/8 side, we're going to score at 1 inch, 2.25 inch, 5 3/4 inch, then at 7 inches. We're going to turn it now to the 7-inch side, and we're going to score at 1.25 inch, 3.25 inch, 4.5 inch, 6.5 inches. I'm going to go ahead and put some pencil marks in this so you could see it a little better. So the one with the 1/2 inch, that's to the top where your lid is going to be. Also, you're going to get your paper snips, your scissors, and we're going to go ahead and cut this first square out right here. And we're going to remove this square entirely. Then we're going to do the same thing on this opposite side. We're going to remove this square. Next, we're going to work on these two panels right here. These two squares we're going to work on, okay? So you're not going to cut the whole thing off, but you're going to go up here and you're going to slice right in here up to that point. I'm just going to fold it so you can see. And then with this, we want to cut off half of this, okay? So we fold in that. We're just going to cut it right down the middle. Okay, that's not too straight. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to come down here, cut it down Okay, let's just fold that so you could see, and then we're going to cut this panel in half. So you could eyeball it and see how the size of that one is. So we're just going to cut that down the middle. Okay, so while we're on these panels, we're going to go ahead and give those a miter cut, which is we're just going to cut off a little triangle from that. So I'm just going to draw, you're going to go from this corner right here, and then you're just going to cut a little sliver down, just like that. And you're going to do the same thing on this side. And you're going to stay up to that score line. All right, so we're going to do the same thing over here. Okay, so next we're going to go up and work on these panels right here. So with this panel right here, we're just going to cut this, and we're going to take that up to this score line right there. All right, so we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Remember, this is our lid right up here. And we're going to cut from here right up to this score line. So that's it for that panel. So we're going to go now next to these panels, and we're going to cut this the same way as we cut this one right here. So we're going to cut up to this score line right there. Then we're going to turn it, and we're going to cut half of this off. And then we're going to give that a miter cut. So we're going to turn it around on the opposite side, and we're going to do the same thing to that. Okay, so next we're working up here to the 1/2 inch side, and we're going to be working on, we're going to take out these two panels right here. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing. Take out these two panels right up to that score line. All right, so this is the closure right here for our lid. So now we're going to work on these panels. So on this panel right here, we're just going to take off this outer panel. And then we're going to take this one off right here. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and fold on our crease lines. All right, so now we're going to do some more mitering on these longer pieces. On this outer panel, we're just going to go ahead and do a miter cut on that. This is going to help our box to close nicely. And then up here by the closure of our box where the 1/2 inch is, we're going to miter these two wings right here. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to round these corners off up to the top here. And to do so, I'm going to bring in my detail 3/0 punch, which gives you 3 different designs. So I'm going to use this here. This is a corner rounder. So I'm going to bring this flap in, and I'm going to go ahead and put that in my punch, and let's go ahead and push down, and then we have a nice rounded corner. So we're going to go ahead and do this on the other side. Bring that flap in, get that squared away in my punch, and then we have that rounded edge. All right, up with our flaps now. I want to cut this down. Let's cut this down to this length right here. We'll cut some off of that, like that. And then we'll do it here on this side too as well. So next I'm going to bring in a 1/2 inch circle punch. And I'm just going to put a notch right here. You don't have to do this part. Try to center it there in the middle, and you're just going to put it maybe 3/4 of the way, and just to give yourself a little easier opening of your box. So we're going to go ahead and glue our box together, and I'm going to use some liquid glue. And this is my glitter art glue that I got from Amazon. I'm going to list all the supplies down in the description down below. If you guys are getting any creative value from this video, go ahead and smash that like button. So what we're going to go ahead and do is on these flaps, I'm just going to add some glue to this. And we'll start building this box. Make sure that's nicely met there on the edges. And then we'll add some glue on this flap too. Bring that up. So next we're going to work on these 2 panels. We'll add some glue to that and just bring that flap in like this. Okay, so then we're going to add some glue to that flap, this flap right here. Then we're going to bring that in. Okay, so next we have these 2 flaps right here. We're going to add some glue here, and then we're going to fold them in. And this is why you want to have a nice miter cut, because if you didn't, then it'll be close to those edges and it won't fold in nicely. Okay, so what we're going to do is add some glue to this and fold those in. And these flaps would help to make your box more sturdy. So I'm just going to take my bone folder and give that a nice little crease. And help that glue to stick down. So we're going to do that to the opposite side. And then this is how your box will close in. So now let's create the insert for our box. So I'm going to use purple posy. This is a lighter purple by Stampin' Up instead of the white color. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this color would be retiring this year. This, as I said earlier, is measuring 4 3/4 of an inch by 3 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to go ahead and score that. Let's bring in our trimmer and scoring tool, and we're going to start on the longer side, the 4 3/4 of an inch side, and we're going to start and we're going to score it at 5/8 of an inch. Then 4 1/8 of an inch. Then we're going to turn it on the 3 1/4 inch side. We'll score it at 5/8 of an inch. And then 2 5/8 of an inch. I'm going to go ahead and burnish those creases that I created. Take my bone folder. So now I'm going to show you how to create the holes so your little chocolate eggs could sit right into that. So what you want is a hole puncher that punches a 5/8 of an inch hole, larger than a 1/2 inch and smaller than 3/4 of an inch. And your punch have to be deep enough to reach within. So this is a 1/2 inch, for instance. It does not go all the way in. So sometimes that's where your dies come into play, because you could place them exactly where you need them to be. This is a larger punch. This is 3/4 of an inch. And this pretty much goes right up. So if you have a punch that is like 5/8 of an inch, that is perfect. So I don't have a punch that's 5/8 of an inch, but I look for one of my dies that's a circle and close to dime size. Stampin' Up! Had this bundle that with the Bonanza Buddies, and it came with dies for the balloon. So I'm going to go ahead and use that die. This set is retired, so you use whatever you have in your stash. So I'm going to go ahead and use this circle right here to cut out my circles. So what I did is I have like 6 circles already cut out. And what you want to do is go ahead and line these up how you would like them to be evenly spaced. And I would save those that like to measure is probably roughly 3/8 of an inch in space in between, roughly. And then what I will do is take a pencil and trace around those. And then you'll have an idea where to place your die or your punch. And you could always erase any pencil marks later. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put this over the circle, each one, and I'm going to run it through my die cutting machine, and I shall be right back. All right, so now I'm back, and there is my circles, okay? So they don't have to be perfect. This one look kind of a little lopsided. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and get our scissors, and I'll show you how to cut this down. So we're going to take out this little panel right in here. And then we're going to take this panel out right in here. So each corner, we're going to take the panel out. And then we're going to miter cut these two as well. So next we're going to bring our box in, and if you guys stick with me to the end, I'm going to show you how you could cut these circles out if you don't have a punch or dies using the dime. So next what you're going to do is bring in your chocolate Easter eggs. We're going to close that up and we're going to decorate the outside of our box. So I'm going to bring in a strip of purple posy. I'm going to bring in the sentiment Happy Easter. I am going to bring in our gorgeous grape ink. And we're going to go ahead and stamp the Happy Easter in that. I'm going to bring in our Tasteful Label dies. And I'll be using this circle right here. It has like a beautiful stitching design on that. And I am going to put this and cut Happy Easter out. I'm going to go ahead and run that to my die cutting machine. And I shall be right back. All right, and we get this beautiful design right here. So you want to get some ribbon. Any of your ribbons that you have. So I'm going to bring in some purple ribbons. That's going to tie into the insert that I have. So I'm just making the design on the outside of the box purple instead of one of these other colors. I just love purple. And this ribbon is a retired ribbon, and it's by Stampin' Up. So you use whatever ribbons you have in stock. I mean, they're retired, but still, you have it, you use it. You don't have to go out and get any additional stuff. Like, use what you have within your stock. This ribbon is about 16 inches, 16 and a half inches long. So we're gonna go ahead and I just want the top part of that ribbon a little shorter. And we're gonna add that, get our dimensionals. So I'm gonna add 2 dimensionals, right, one there and one right there. And then my ribbon would go in between those 2. And then I add my sentiment there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and tie a bow. So I make my loop and I go above, bring my air through. Make that nice and tight. And you just pull on your tails to make your ears shorter. You pull on your ears to make the knot in the middle tighter. Then what I'm going to do is get some rhinestone, and I'm going to add 1 rhinestone. 1 rhinestone there to the bottom. And I'm going to bring in the other one. And this, you could interchange your ribbon. Just slide it right through those little dots right there. And I'm just going to use a different purple ribbon. Bring my knot right up underneath that label. Make my bunny ear come around. Pass my loop through. Cut that down. Which ribbon do you guys like the best? Let me know in the comment down below. And I'm going to show you how to do the circles using a dime. So, and if you have a box cutter, okay? So let's go ahead and put these on the side. I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper. Like, I'm going to bring in a dime. So you get a pencil, you trace your dime. All right, and then what you're going to do is make an X in your dime within the circle. You're going to make an X within the circle. I'm going to bring in my cutting mat. I'm gonna get a box cutter. All right, so I'm gonna take this and we're gonna cut along that X line, okay? The X inside. So you could continue with your box cutter and trace out the circle, or I'm just going to take my scissors and go around and cut out those halves. And there you have your circle. It'll take a little bit more time, but if you don't mind doing it, that's the way you could get your circles. So let's bring in those boxes again. Thank you guys for tuning into my creative corner. Get out there and be creative. This is Claudette, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.